okay, welcome to this week's Training Tip Tuesday. It's me, Andy Chadwick, and we are back with another great video for you. So I hope you've been enjoying the series so far. We're just enjoying bringing you more content, so please do go ahead and subscribe, like the content, share, and just comment anything that you want to see, any questions that you may have, and we'll get down to answering those or producing that content for you. So we are looking at the overhead press, or the barbell overhead press this week. So sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and I'll see you all at the end. So the movement classifications we've got here, starting off, we have shoulder abduction. And shoulder abduction is where the hands are moving away from the midline of the body. You can see here, using the anterior and the medial portion of the delt, we're moving the hands away from the midline of the body. The second one is the opposing, is shoulder adduction, and it is where the hands are moving towards the body, and this is going to be primarily through the traps and also the deltoids, and it's pretty much on the eccentric portion of the movement that we're going to be looking at here. So next we have scapular outward rotation, and it is where the shoulder blades are moving away from the center of the body as we press up here. This is primarily where it's going to take place. And then we have the opposing, which is the scapular inward rotation on the eccentric portion of the movement as we're lowering down with the bar. That's where our shoulder blades are going to come together. Next we have scapular elevation, which is where the shoulder blade is moving up away from kind of the center of the body. As you can see here by the diagram, the arrow is pointing that the shoulder blade is traveling upwards. And this is just going to basically be a portion of the pressing movement. Scapular depression is the opposing, and it is where the scapula is moving down away from kind of the opposite movement, and we're moving down towards the midline of the body. And this is going to be performed as we're performing the eccentric portion, so we're kind of going concentric and eccentric. Finally, we've got elbow extension, and this is with the triceps, and we're going to be moving up away from the midline of the body with the elbow as we're pressing on up. Following that, secondly, on the way down on the eccentric portion, we've got elbow flexion, and this is where the elbow and the triceps are involved here, and we're moving down towards the midline of the body as we're coming and lowering that bar back down. The next thing we've got is the setup. So with the setup, we're looking at taking the hands probably just slightly wider than shoulder width. You can see here that I'm using the ring on the bar, and I'm slightly inside it. I'm taking my hands underneath my outside of my shoulders and underneath the bar from here, taking a big deep breath, bracing the core and pressing on up overhead. Again, the hands should finish up directly overhead, and we should be lowering back down towards the collarbone or towards the breastbone, kind of at the top there. When we're done, we just re-rack and undo. So the rep ranges for the exercises, again, kind of with your setup, taking hold of the bar, coming on underneath and setting on up. Make sure you're keeping the glutes nice and tight, and you're keeping the stomach nice and tight to brace everything as we press on up. Probably the one big criticism I would have of myself here would be the fact that I'm flexing the wrists a little bit too much and just allowing the bar to sit more in the palms rather than the actual hands themselves being locked in. But with the rep ranges, because this is such a big compound movement, we can actually have it where we do sets of 5, maybe sets of 2 or 3 if you're looking more power. 5 to 8 would be more strength. Anything from 8 to 12, we're very much looking at hypertrophy, and this is what I was working on here. So I was quite a high rep range for this exercise, and then for the last set I did go up in weight to try and increase it, and I think I hit 10 reps. But again, rep ranges can vary depending on what kind of training phase that you are in. It may be something you want to work up to 15 to 20 reps, but I think with the exercise itself, it's more of a higher compound movement. We could actually focus more on hypertrophy and strength here as opposed to volume work, but there's nothing to say that you can't do that. Now, in terms of being able to kind of overload week on week, I think you'd probably prefer to maybe go strength or into hypertrophy ranges. So definitely kind of the 5s to 8s, maybe all the way up to 12s, sometimes a little bit more than that, but probably not too far outside that range. So you can see here, really trying to brace the core as I've gone heavier on this set, keeping the elbows tucked underneath the bar and that bar finishing nice and overhead, trying to keep everything in neutral. And it's just a great exercise to really develop the delts, develop the triceps as well with that pressing motion up overhead. And I think this is probably one of the best exercises that you could do if you are looking to get stronger through the shoulders. But it's a great exercise because it really transfers over into any Olympic lifting that you may be doing. Okay, stabilising the shoulders, stabilising the scapulas, and developing that strength. Finally, moving on to the common errors, I think the first one that we always tend to see is probably the back arching, and it's where people will press on up overhead and they'll pretty much look like they're falling underneath the bar. So the bar is still travelling upwards, but people tend to be coming underneath and their hips are moving a lot forward. The best way of combating this is keeping the glutes and the core tight and not allowing the weight to be too heavy that it forces us to move forward or shift forward, that puts pressure on the lower back. The second thing we're going to look at is the shorter range of motion, and it tends to come when people are maybe lifting too heavy, or they're just unaware of they should be getting a full extension at the elbows, which is just going to allow them to get that full range of motion through the shoulders. But you can see here that the bar is finishing a lot shorter than it needs to. So there you have it, folks. That is this week's Training Tip Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed the overhead press and you got something from that video. Please do go ahead and like the video, share, comment, subscribe, stay up to date with everything that we're doing on the Training Tip Tuesday series, and I will be back next week with another video for you. If you've got anything you would like to see, comment down below and we'll get that over to you as quick as we can. Thank you very much for checking the video out. Peace out.